Hi, everyone, and a very good evening to everybody present here. A very, very warm welcome to one of our webinars scheduled for this month. As the title says, a career in information sciences and library. Firstly, a very good evening to all the lovely students, counselors, teachers, principals, eminent people present here who are viewing this webinar today. First and foremost, let me introduce you to I Dream Career. So we are a career counseling organization who have been there in the space for almost a decade now. We work with a lot of private schools, organizations, partner with UNICEF, government schools. We run our own certification program in career counseling to help individuals become career counselors. We keep on doing regular webinars every time, but this webinar today, which we have scheduled, is perhaps something which a lot of us are not very well versed with. So finally, we thought if we have a very key resource person and somebody who could help us, dig deeper into this inquisitive topic. And so we have Miss Hiru Bhojwani from Mumbai, who is here today to help us understand about the topic. I wouldn't take a lot of time in terms of introducing you to her because perhaps that would be covered in the conversation that we have today. But just to tell you while we were speaking, she just mentioned that information curator and coach is what she likes to call herself, or maybe you can say an information media specialist. It definitely sounds fancy. A lot of questions keep arising for me here to know more about library and information sciences as a career. So perhaps let's start directly by asking her what actually made her get into this profession and what was her own journey like. So Hiro ma'am, thank you so much firstly for being here today, helping us understand your journey, your experience. Students would be perhaps very much interested to know about this career option altogether. So let's start with you sharing your experiences, your education, any subjects that you had which were favorite of yours. What made you choose this career altogether, and do you really think that such kind of a space is needed for students to explore?
Well, thank you very much, Garima. A pleasure to be here and a pleasure to talk about my profession. I simply love it. Very briefly, what's my background? I did my Bachelor of Arts. I did my Bachelor of Education, and thinking I'd become a teacher. I did teach for a couple of years, and then by chance, I got into the library profession. I applied for a job, and they said that there was no job as a teacher, and they said, "Would you like to be a librarian?" And I said, "Yeah, cool. Just hang out in a place, just issue books, and I'll get all enjoy that space and time to read all the books." But the reality was very, very different. I did not get a chance to read at my workplace. Yes, I got a chance to read. I could take the books home and read it, but never at my workplace. There were so many dynamic things to do. So, what are my favorite subjects? I like everything. I like podcasting. I like blogging. I like creating media. I like ebooks. I like history. I like sciences. I like pretty much all the subjects. So long as I don't have to go deeply into mathematics, I'm happy. I hate math. And the next question is, that's it. Why did I choose my career? It came by chance, but I stood around like you said, Garima, for 20 years. I've been here because it is one place that allows me to explore and do many, many things. It's not only about reading books and dispensing books. Because I'm in a school setup, I enjoy reading books to little children, teaching them about literary genres, teaching them about writing, helping them create podcasts, helping them create ebooks, and so many beautiful things that I like to do. And best part of it is I don't have to grade them. So we actually enjoy and have that learning space. So if you look at, I know one of the questions you have is what is the scope of my work and how has it transformed? I would like to say, yes, in the old-fashioned world, I would think that a librarian is this old lady who sits behind the desk and dispenses books. But things have changed. Again, you might say, has it changed now or earlier? If you're in a progressive setup, then definitely there is a scope to do all the beautiful things that you can imagine, right from technology, teaching children, teaching adults about how to use media efficiently, how to use information, how to create media, blog posts, blogs, podcasting, all of that. And all of these things I learned along my journey of growth. Is there a place that taught me all this? No, I got it from many places. I went to Udemy, I went to Coursera, I paid for some courses, I did lots of them on free. So yes, the role has changed, it has transformed, and the internet has definitely changed the way we think, look at things. And more than ever, many schools and institutes and colleges are saying we don't need a librarian. The librarian is a person who just keep stock of the books. That's one of the smallest aspects. It all depends on how much you want to evolve. If you want to just do that, that's fine. Because there are lots of institutes that allow you to only do the stock taking. So if you like stocks, keeping stock, organizing structures and stuff like that, that exists as well. So the choice is yours. You can either do this dynamic 100 things that is available for you, or you can do the cataloging and structuring of the library. And the internet has actually changed the way we view information because everything is out there. So the role of the librarian today is really to help curate the most effective, evaluate the resources, authentic, credible resources, and provide it to the user. So your user can be anybody from a PhD to a lawyer to a child, anybody. So everything's on the net. And imagine teaching all that to all different kinds of learners. So that's fantastic. So you get to meet a lot of people, you get to talk to them without and judging them. And so if your personality is a very kind person, wants to help and serve the community, this is an ideal job for you.
All right, all right. So this question now comes out of curiosity. So
Yes.
so uh, my mother very recently retired as a professor, and I have been to her college a number of times. The last time when she was approaching her retirement, I was at the library and returning all the books that she had issued her during her year. So when I perceive, or perhaps when I see somebody sitting behind the desk and maybe maintaining stocks and putting stamps on the books and maintaining inventory, so perhaps if you could let everybody here know in terms of what really is the scope and how do you eventually also evolve. So you did mention that there are books, there are ebooks, there are blogs, there are tons of things to do, but eventually you should also have an interest to grow, right? But do you really think there is a scope of growth here, where people can practice or perhaps expand their wings in terms of doing much more to the conventional thought of a librarian?
Absolutely, 100%. I would definitely, first and foremost, say it's very important to work in a very progressive setup. So, for example, if you are going to work in a village and you're going to that CBSE school with a small library or a university library, make sure you can ask these questions in the interview that is there space for growth? Are you looking at improving your services of your library? And most often, I would say almost all the time, they will say yes. They just don't have the people to do it because all of those librarians in my era have not evolved in the library field. They have not learned and taught themselves these new skills. So they are looking for young people who are more dynamic and who are able to change that space. So I would highly encourage young people to take up this profession because it's opened up so much. You have an opportunity to do whatever you want. The leaders or the heads of institute want that change, but nobody's saying, can I do this? When I went to my supervisor and said, I want to start a writing community for adults in my school that are my parents, and he said, yes, why not? Go ahead. So that initiative should come from you because people don't know what you can do. And even if you don't know, you say, I'm learning and I want to start. And more than 99%, they will say, yes, please go ahead.
Great. So let's speak about your journey more. If you could elaborate in terms of how your journey itself has evolved as a librarian. I mean, you've switched schools, or perhaps you worked across organizations. Where do you currently work now? What are the roles and responsibilities? In maybe a nutshell, that you've handled in your complete 2 decades of journey.
I started off with a regular, like you said, a person who just shelf books and keep the library space, organize the library space. Then I realized I began to reading a lot of the things that were being done in the Western world. So, and I am presently working at an international school. So again, so international school allow a lot of flexibility and growth and opportunities to grow. I have friends who are working in very small institutes where the change is very slow. And because of that, there's less encouragement. So if you work in a dynamic organization, and there is scope for growth is like immense. So I started off from shelving books, began reading picture books to children, started using technology to create ebooks with them, started making videos with them, started using all the Google tools to support their learning, creating animated videos with them. Then started having newspaper clubs where we created e-newspapers. And then now I'm doing podcasts with them. So we are creating a podcast and with the children, and you teach them that skills. So podcast is just not sitting together and creating a video, a dialogue between two people. You need to have a script. So the children learn how to write a script. You mentor them, teach them how to write a script, practice it, edit the video. There are so many things. How do you create your logo? How do you create Instagram? And over the years, I began to do different things. And so a library, I would say, is not a place where you do shush shush and you have old people being quiet. Yes, you do have quiet spaces, but it's a learning hub where people of different interests come together. You help them connect and help them grow and evolve in whatever skill set that they want to. And you just become the facilitator of that dynamic space. So you create that dynamic space.
Great. I think that actually speaks a lot in terms of the career itself, because uh, as long as the individual is willing to grow in this space, perhaps the conventional thought will be broken. Perhaps the inner shackles will be broken there, and then eventually the role will grow. The students around you, or perhaps everybody who is taking services through you, will grow. So yeah, I think that's a great evolution. So I don't know, I mean, how I don't really know how relevant this question would be, because you've somewhat mentioned all about it already, but could you say that there are any particular courses or colleges that help somebody become a librarian, or
Uh,
maybe anything in this space?
Honestly speaking, if you're looking at, you will need to have a basic bachelor's in library sciences, because honestly speaking, that's the way they apply for a job. So a company, if you're looking at a law firm or you're looking at a school, they will all ask for a BLIS degree called Bachelor's in Library Sciences. Did that degree teach me anything? No, it didn't teach me. It taught me the basics, but it opened the doors for me. It just validated that I could do a lot more things. I've just put a link on the chat. I'm a co-chair founder of the Librarian community, and we've started a course where we can teach it. So if you're teaching in an international school, you really don't need a library degree. They will take anybody so long as you're interested in it, in evolving and learning, because you need to have at least a little bit of a literacy background if you're looking at uh, the library field and children. If you're looking at law and uh, other companies or business offices, then you will have to begin with a bachelor's in library degree. Then again, once you have that degree, the world is your oyster. Do what you want, and their scope is like immense. And you just develop your skills and do. If you're interested in reading, you pursue in the reading space. If you're interested in technology, then you take that technology strand and explore that. If you're interested in digital citizenship and all of that, that's an avenue you might want to go. So really, the choice is yours. that basic bachelor's of information degree opens up the doors for you, only because the person interviewing you knows that you have the basic degree of organization. You do need that basic organization.
Got
And
it.
if you are working in a CBSE or a government school or a government organization, the application says they're looking for a master's in library sciences, but does that really teach you everything? I'm just going to leave it open. You have to explore the world and enjoy and learn and grow. Yes, but they want all those changes. They want you to be a blogger. They want you to start a video channel for the school or the institute for them, but they don't know how. Now, if you as a librarian wants to do it, that's thumbs up for you. Otherwise, they just hire some media specialist to do it. So again, it's one, it's like you say, you put potatoes in anywhere and it works. So you put the librarian anywhere, it works.
As long as the librarian is willing to.
Absolutely. That's with any job, I would say. That would be with any profession.
Correct. Very true. Very true. Okay, so while we are having this conversation, I would also want to mention to our audience who are there on YouTube, please put in your questions on the chat box on our YouTube screen that you see in front of you. We have the iDream Career team members, Mr. Thomas John, who's been facilitating and coordinating on the YouTube chat. Perhaps he will pick up your question and answer, and we'll put it across to us, and we will get it answered through Hiru. So requesting everybody, if you would have any questions, we will definitely put them across here and get them answered. Okay, so moving on to the next question, Hiru. So, again, an evolution of what you've just discussed. As in when technology is changing, the space is evolving, there is a lot of information, there is internet. How directly or indirectly do you think, the connection stays there? So you did mention that somebody who wants to, foray into technology strand would take that up and eventually grow. But then as a whole, as a librarian as a whole, how equipped should perhaps a person be? What kind of impact does the technology play in terms of the role of being there with the librarian?
Again, I'm assuming there are all young people out there in the listening to this conversation. So I would say all of them already have the skills. So it's just learning to navigate them more effectively instead of randomly going on. I think when you start learning and taking up these little courses in the field of library through Coursera and EduX and hundreds of other platforms online, and like I've just shared, librarian.com also has a course that they can teach you how to be a librarian. So yes. So it all depends on the individual, which area they want to go. A very close friend of mine loves technology to a point that she's actually driven in that direction. I like the literary area, so I indulge more in reading and writing with the children. So, and if you like to become like the news, and again, it depends which avenue. If you're looking at a school librarian or a college librarian, you can create a college magazine or a newspaper or a college blog or college vlog where children's voice and choice matters. It's all about giving them empowering the students and wherever they are, whether they're in colleges, school, or anywhere. When you empower the place that you're working, the citizens or an organization, that's what you do. Like I said, if you have the attitude of serving the community, this is perfect for you. You can't be a nurse, you can't be a doctor, but you're a librarian, perfect. You serve the community and you open the doors and the hearts.
Thank you, thank you. So, while you were speaking, it actually kind of gave me a nostalgia where I was in school. So, we had bifurcated library sections for juniors and seniors. So I still, while you were speaking, it just kind of reminded me of my own pre-sixth class grade, where we had little colorful stools in the library, and we always had audiobooks. So, there was that time when Scholastic they had their audiobooks very recently introduced. So all of us were made to wear very fancy headphones and sit there and listen to books. Obviously it was a different game changer altogether, perhaps at that point of time, because the conventional method of flipping pages was gone, and obviously it was new. It felt as a receiver, different things coming up. And now I see that this may have been one of the initiatives of the librarian, perhaps, to help serve the students as much as possible, generate their interest, and do something which is a little different, and eventually also introduce technology in the process. So yeah.
However, I must say that books are never going to go away. They will remain the first love and the only love for the library.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like here, my book is right here. So it's not going anywhere. So as much as we talk about technology, books will still be the key, because you will need to annotate on the books. You will need to build your deeper understanding through books, because studies still show that if you want to get into in-depth of any subject matter or a novel or anything, you will need a printed material to dive deep into the literacy aspect of the. So that's not going anywhere, whether it's a picture book, whether it's a novel, whether it's an information book.
True, absolutely true. I always very strongly believe that a book can never be replaced, irrespective of any technology that comes in. So I'm myself a non-Kindle kind of a person. The pleasure of holding books and being around books is very different as compared to having technological mediums and then reading around. So yeah. Okay.
So,
So
and COVID has showed us that a librarian needs to be very versatile, whether because we are out of that library zone, physical space, and in the internet or in the Zoom space, she is still participating. If they haven't evolved in their roles, many of them have lost their jobs. If they've evolved and they are relevant, their jobs have still been maintained. So I do know a lot of friends who have lost their jobs because they haven't evolved. They haven't made themselves, I would say, flexible to meet the needs of the education space now. That's with any job.
that's with any job, but there are definitely a few jobs which would have such nature where being perhaps how you put it in the right words, maybe growing yourself or being competent enough to stay there among others, and then finally eventually you can be a part of the system, so that it feels that you are an essential or a critical valuable resource and contributing, perhaps. So yeah, yeah. As a profession, we perhaps couldn't we haven't been able to see librarian in such a picture, but yes, I think with your statements and with your experiences, my own perception is changing while we speak. So kudos to that. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Okay, so you did mention initially that you like staying around books and reading a lot of stuff. You hate mathematics. Mathematics is my personal favorite subject.
Favorite.
Uh, what kind of people do you really think are best suited for such a career? Would you have some do's and don'ts, or would you have some ticks and no's, and anything that you can suggest?
Again, it depends on the space. If you're looking at a school space, then of course, you need to like children. If you're looking at a college space, you need to be comfortable working with young adults. And if you want to work in a professional space, like in a law firm or in a medical space, so it all depends on what area you want to work in. But like I said, the librarian is can fit in anywhere, and there's a so again, I come from a school library background, so I love children. I love interacting them. I love to see them grow. So I deal with children all I used to over the years, from elementary, that is 3-year-olds, all the way to 18-year-olds. So I've dealt with that entire range. So I'm very comfortable in that space with all kinds of people. And in school, you also interact with adults. So you have the teachers that you collaborate with, and then you also have parents. So I do have these little workshops for parents for information and media literacy. Like Neil Gaiman said, you have to Google to give you everything. Why do you need a librarian? Is what everybody is saying. But it is a librarian, as Ranganathan said, will give you the right thing at the right time, at the right moment when you need it the most. So she can achieve, I'm just speaking she because I am, it's for men and women. I have lots of, there are lots of male librarians also in the field doing fabulous work. So, and they can pick the right fruit for you to enjoy and grow as a learner and whatever you're looking for. So you learn to evaluate the resources, you learn to decipher it, you also uh, learn about the copyrights, which is very openly breached all over India today because of the pandemics. You have all of the PDF floating around. It saddens me because a lot of, we talk of a value system, and right there we are disrespecting the worth of other authors who spend so much time and effort in doing what they're doing. So my heart goes out to them. And I think we should stand up for them and say, you know what, we won't pass on these PDFs which are copyrighted and which are being passed around. So I speak for it all the time, and which gets me into trouble, but that's okay.
Okay. So, while again we speak, I would request everybody who is watching this webinar, please go ahead and put up your questions on our YouTube chat box. Our facilitator
But
members will put it across on the Zoom platform for you, and we will ask them around and get your questions answered. Sorry,
and
Hiru.
yeah, if you're in the 12th standard and you want to give up studies and you're not interested, then you can be an assistant librarian, helping in cataloging and doing all of that. So the library space is pretty open to taking on freshers in that area. And again, like I said, a lot of the future of the librarian's role depends on in your hand, depends on you. And if you just want a good, quiet job to work in a library and do your master's in library sciences, get into a CBSE job or a school or any government institute, your job is set. You just do what they're doing and it's smooth sailing. So you do have a lot of people who are doing the master's in library sciences, but they are not equipped for the present times. So they are struggling, you know, and with all of the new institutions and technology, like I said, technology has revolutionized a lot of things, and you just have to be well equipped to move with the times. And I'm sure the young people who are listening are so they have the skill set. All they just need to do is refine their skill set, and that will come when they get interested in this field to find out about information literacy, digital literacy, media literacy, and all of these courses are available online where you can tune yourself. So even if you take up a degree of any other kind, like if you want to do a degree in whatever, bachelor's in anything, you can still hone all your skills through different small programs or short courses that are available online. And then when you graduate, you can always apply for a job in a library, in a school or in international school, because there is no hard and fast rule that you need a BLIS.
Okay.
You can learn on the job, but it is what it is.
Okay. So next question, now since you were speaking, so it came across my mind. While you have been there, I'm sure you interact with a lot of students and individuals during your complete role there. How do you perceive librarian as a career? How accepted, or maybe not accepted being the right word? How open are students to perceiving this as a career? I mean, do you see still a challenge in terms of students having any kind of stigma for that matter in terms of seeing that should I become a librarian or not, or it is just that the awareness levels are not there? How do you think this particular piece goes?
I think now the trends are changing, especially if the child or the student is exposed to this different role of a librarian. I think times are changing. Things are changing, and in my career, in my school librarianship that I've really had more than 4 or 5 children who comment on me. Oh, when I grow up, I'll be a librarian. They never did. I mean, I don't know, but they have said that to me. The Although I know if you look at the role of a teacher and a librarian, they often say they want to be a teacher rather than a librarian. That's true. But I think it's changing. And I know many teachers who now want to become librarians. I was a teacher as a profession and I moved into librarian, like I said, by chance. But today, if you ask me, would I go back to being teaching? No, I don't want to ever. Yes, I enjoy some of the aspects of the teaching role, which I do as a librarian, but I love my job. That's why, like you said, why did I stay and not move into any other profession? Because I enjoyed where I am. I got this opportunity to grow and learn and I think evolve.
All right, all right. So we'll move on to a few questions that have been, asked by our audiences there. So while
Wonderful.
we go ahead and put up these questions to Hiru, I would request everybody who's there viewing this session, please do put in your questions on the YouTube chat box, and we will get them answered for you. All right.
Perfect.
So to start with, somebody in the name of Renwin, he has asked, could you please share some activities that can be done in online library sessions in school?
Hi, Renvin. I think you are probably already a librarian. So yes, most commonly is the stories to reading stories online. However, you can also create stories online using Jamboard, using Storybook Weaver and other tools to teach children how to write and create stories. Most importantly, it is giving the children a voice to write. I think during this pandemic time, it's time for them to express themselves. It will help them in their social emotional well-being. So you could do a 10-minute mini lesson on how to write descriptive writing, have them write and create their stories. And then you can have them publish on Read Bloom Books is a website which is taking stories of children that are written by children for children, and it's a website for them. So that's one. You can also have them, like I said, create podcasts. My kids have created podcasts. We've had clubs where they have created e-newspapers and e-magazines. I have kids who've created poetry online. But you need to and create them, compile them, create a website, showcase their work. They're thrilled. You can also do something called readers theater. So put them out in breakout rooms and give them a script, and they can practice the script and come together and have a readers theater as well. So those are some of the activities you can do online. I hope that
Okay.
helped you, Renvin.
So Renwin, if you would have a succeeding question, please do type in. So Hiru, while you were there, what kind of challenges you faced throughout? If you would want to cite a few examples,
Yeah.
anything that comes
The
to
first,
mind.
yeah, the first, like you said, my own admission, I will admit that my own feeling of the librarian's role as being the old-fashioned librarian sitting and dispensing books. I couldn't come in terms with, like, do I do this or do I evolve? Or is that what they want me to see me? Is this okay what I'm doing? Is that not okay? There was no validation. So I think that came with time when I began to do things and it was appreciated, which validated the role that I evolved into. So I think that was the only really, it was myself rather than anybody else. And once I recognized that, hey, I like what I do and I love being a librarian, I think that perspective changed the perception of others as well. I think that's again a very personal thing that comes with every job. I think that validation comes from your people around you. Once that happens, whatever you are, even if you're an accountant, if you're doing a good job and it's validated, I think that just improves your ability to explore new avenues and grow. I think that's a very philosophical question, I think. Sorry, Karima.
No worries, no worries. So I do see one last question as of now. Um, okay, so I don't have to review again. So yeah. Do you think the degree in courses in India, especially for library sciences, do they have an up-to-date curriculum? Would you be able to answer that?
If the answer is in yes or no, the answer is no, but you still need that degree to enter and get a job because the job portal will ask you, do you have a BLIS degree? There is no other way for the portals, for the job portals or people in organizations looking for somebody like you without the BLIS degree. Yes, it is not relevant, but yes, that it's an honest truth and fact of life. Sorry, that didn't help. But check out the librarian.com. We do have courses for school librarians that we offer to upskill you in the library job. If you're looking
I
for
was
an,
just about to end with that question. So I was myself viewing that website. So I do see a few programs there listed. So would you kind of want to throw some light? I mean, so not just from librarian point of view. Do you have such courses which anybody and everybody can do and get into library management, and will they be recognized as well?
no, it's not recognized. Yes, but you will get the skills because it's an association and government. We don't have a government organization with. I'm the co-chair of that organization, so I can tell you, yes, it is not acceptable, but it will give you all the skills required to pursue your passion for libraries. Who is it taught by? It's taught by professional librarians who have evolved and grown in this field. So they will give you all, share with you all the current practices happening worldwide. In fact, right now we have one lady from Indonesia and one lady from Pakistan and one from Dubai joined in to do the librarian courses because it provides all that is required to be updated, and they're all librarians in their field doing their own thing in their school space. And yet they're pursuing these courses because they are relevant. Do you get a job with that? I think you could, but I cannot guarantee you, depending on what space, what part of India you are from.
Okay, so it would perhaps be more like an upskilling kind of a course.
Absolutely. Because basically you do need a degree course. You need a degree. So it doesn't matter whether you're a BCom, BA or whatever. My assistant who works with me has a BCom degree. And does she, or she just upskilled herself and she's damn good. So you do need a degree because I think it just validates your education and thinking capacity. So the degree is important. It's become the basic existence of anybody in any profession field.
Okay, okay. So a very interesting question, Hiru, which has just come in. So Shirish, one of our viewers, he says, "Do introverts make better librarians?"
No, no, they don't, because you have to reach out to all the children and you have to reach out to all your community people in the library. So I think it's not introverts, it's kindness that is important. If you're a kind person, I think it works wonderfully, magically for you. Not introverts, please. You need somebody who's outgoing, who will reach out to other people who attend the come to the library, who are sometimes introverts.
All right, all right. So I definitely don't see any more questions, but I would request all viewers to please go ahead and visit website for Hero Bhojwani. That's herobhojwani.com. You'll see her Twitter, her LinkedIn handles mentioned there, her email ID as well. If you would have any questions further, you can just email it to her, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Absolutely.
So Hero ma'am, on that note, a very big thank you. It's been a great candid conversation here where you've given some great insights into the career, and I'm sure that would help students who are looking at such a career option to decide, or people who are not looking at it to also decide that it could be definitely one lucrative career as well.
It definitely is. And believe me, we need young people in this career. And there are lots of people who just join it for the degree and then they don't move ahead. But really, really, we want some young people there who can create this dynamism and create this fire in the space. That's missing because in the past we've had, like you said, a lot of introverted people being in the library space. It's time to evolve, and you young people can make the difference in the world. Sorry, everybody is saying the young people are going to make the change. They're going to make the change. So a lot of burden you have to take of all the we have left behind for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
A
Garima.
wonderful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Garima. Thank you for having me. A pleasure. And I just hope I'm able to answer some of your questions and open up some minds.
Thank you. Thank you. And for all our viewers who are there, please make sure that you subscribe to the iDream Career YouTube channel. Our team has just put across the channel link. So just in case you haven't subscribed to our social media handles as well as the YouTube channel, please do that instantly to get regular notifications on all the upcoming events and webinars that we do. So, on that note, have a great evening, everyone. Have a great, lovely Tuesday and stay safe. Keep your mask up and stay indoors. Thank you.
Thank you, Garima. Thank you, John. Thank you, Audrey. Bye-bye.
Bye.